Hello everyone, welcome to 30 Minutes Learning. Today we are going to discuss about how to use Get and Set model in SAP UI5 application. Okay, what is Set and Get model? We can simply call data binding in SAP. So while we using a data binding, we use that set model to bind some value to particular view or whole application. For example, this is external API. This API return this data. This data we can bind to our whole application or particular view or particular component, like any table or list based view, like any component. Okay, so this particular data if we bind, then we can reuse that data. So that time we need to use get data. Okay, let's jump to program and test this concept. So first go to web IDE and here create a new project. So right click here and click that new, select that project from template, select a SAP UI5 application and click next and give a project name called get and set model. So get set model and namespace called dev. Click next and finish. So in this section we using this REST API for getting a result. So this is a dummy data it will return. So just click this REST API, then you get this JSON result. I will give you a link to this video description for your testing purpose. Okay, so our application is created here. Just expand this folder and inside the web app, little bit expand that view. Here we going to create two buttons. One button for set some data to our view and next one button for getting this binded value. Okay, so button, so this is first button. So first button text set data and press event on set. Similarly, next button it's a get data. So press event on get. So we created a two button and we created two events. One is as onset, another one is a on get. Okay, let's create another function inside the view controller. Here we can create our functions on set function and next function on get. So we create a two event in the view. So this corresponding event we create a functions inside the controller. Okay, So we created two functions. Just copy this URL from here. This URL we need to use to bind data. Okay, so how to binding a data or how to use SetModel, it's both are same. So 3 steps we need to follow to achieve this one. So step 1, first create a model. And step 2, then assign some data. Assign data to model. Then step 3, set this model to app full application or particular view or any component like cable or something like. Okay, so we need to follow these 3 steps. So first step, create a model. So this model where OModel new SAPUI.model.json model. Okay, so we created one model. Then we need to assign some data, like we need to set some data to this model. So OModel dot set data, and inside we need to give some value, whatever information we fetch from this external API. So finally we need to assign this model to our view. So third step, this dot get view dot set model inside OModel we need to define. So before using this external API, we can use some hard-coded values like JSON. We can give first value called we can say that ID and emails. We can use this ones. Okay, so next one we copy. Okay. Parsing error. We get some parse error. Wait, we will check in the JSON link. Okay, this one making an issue. duplicate ID. Okay, so mail and ID. Okay, we can use this mail and ID. This two data is enough. Copy and use inside here. Okay, okay, let's save. Then here we need to get this data. So we need to give here this dot get view dot get model, and we just giving a console log, then only we can test. So here I put some breakpoint. Oh, sorry, debugger. So debugger for here to debug our application. Okay, so if you use this O model and without naming, so it's a default model it will assign, and we don't need to give any model name here also. First we check without naming, it's a default model, then we use the naming model also. Okay, so just run this application, select the index.html and click OK. Okay, just press that F12 button, or right click to select that inspect. Then you see that bottom this layer, then select inside the control console. This is developer console. Clear everything and just click that. First we need to set some data to our view, so then only we need to access this data, right? So first we're going to run this button for executing first application, first function. So this function it will already run. So next we're going to get data. So while giving a while pressing a get data, we put some debugger, so it will stop here. We can use this console to test. So this dot get view dot get model, and press enter. Now you see we have some results. This is a default model, so it's giving a written some data. So but we can't to see anything inside this whole bunch of JSON, right? This object. If you look at this O data, this is our result. So how we can retrieve? It's we can simply use dot get data. So we use some get data function to retrieve what information we bind to this default view, or default binding for this view. Some people's directly using that O data after get model, so it's a wrong way of getting information and using. So don't use that o data, like o data. This also written, but proper way to retrieve information, it's a get data. Okay. Okay, let's execute. Console is not a function. Wait. Okay, console.log. We are missing. I missed that log, so that's why we get that error. Okay, so now we know how to use that default binding with some local data. Now we're going to change this data to external API. We need to get this data from external API. Okay, so for this external API, we're going to use the Ajax functions. If you already know how to use that Ajax function, it's okay. If you don't know, no problem. I already created some video for how to use external Ajax call. Just look at that, then you can easily understand. I will give you a video description for checking these videos. So here we're going to use Ajax call. So I'm directly using Ajax get method. So we are going to use the get method for get data. So first we need to tell that URL. So this is the URL for fetching information. So next we can use the promise to returns. So arrow function, it's giving a warning, but it will execute, no issue. If you don't want to get this error, then use that function keyword function and remove this arrow. Then this error it will go. Now we get that this error because of we hard coded some URL. That's why it's no issue. Then it will return some data. So this data only we're going to bind to our view. So first we console this data. Then we need to use this function inside the Ajax promise return. Okay. So set data to model. So we just created one Ajax call to bind this data. If you use this function keyword, then we need to use that keyword. So we need to assign that is equal to this, then this that we're going to use inside the function, or else we get some error because this is denoted to this particular functions, not this parent function. So parent function, this variable we need to pass inside the this function, then only this whole view it will support. Okay, So we just replace that keyword for this both that dot get view and set model. Okay, now we just save and refresh our application. So this time, okay, wait, actually we are not setting this data. It's a mistake. Wait, so we forgot to set this data. So give a data variable here for set this model, then save and refresh. Clear, and click that set data. Set data is undefined. Mm, okay, we check network preview, we get result. Then 21st line we getting error. mm, model dot set data. Okay, we using that set data is undefined. Okay, we can simply get rid this error using this create model inside the function. So this Ajax call working perfectly. We get some result here. If you see this page to add everything, this is the page 2 and total pages, everything. We get this data, but binding we face some issue. This property is undefined. So we're going to define this model inside the function promise. Then we don't need to say this O model. Now we can directly set this model to our view. Okay, save and refresh. Clear this console and set data. Now it will not get any error, so it will set to this view, and now we're going to get this data. Similarly, last time we are getting the data, this dot get view dot get model dot get data. Okay, if you see, it's a console log also, it's printing our data. Okay, that's cool, we achieved this one. So next we need to use the named binding. So if you give a name for this model, then that name we need to use inside the get function. So this get model, for example, here I need to give some name, this data related to user. user data something. So I give user, then this default model never work. I can show you this example, like one is first console, we giving this user, next console we already using the default model, so we don't have any default model, so this one it will return undefined, so this one only return value. Okay, just save and refresh and you will see real time how the default model and named model it will work. So first set data and get data. If you see first console it will work, second it's showing that undefined because no default model we have. If you give that unknown name without name, then it's considered as a default model. Okay, so if you use that any names, then it's called a named model, and you can use multiple named model and you can reuse that model to other view and other the whole application. If you use that get view, then next view if you go, then you should give that name, like this is a view 1, so we need to use this view 1 inside the get view. I will show you some example. Debugger, put debugger, remove this code in the bottom code and refresh, clear this one and set model and get data. Before get data, oh sorry, we putting a name, right? So get data user, oh wait, this get model, okay, get model, not get data, get model user. Okay, so instead of this get view, we need to say view 1. This both are same. Now we are using current view, so that's why this dot get view it will work. But if you use that different view, then you need to specify which view data, which view model you need to retrieve, then only it will work. Or else we can use whole application. If you want to access, then you need to use different method. So that one called SAPUI5.get it's a parent whole application it will support. Then okay, then set model, similar, next steps are similar. So O model and we can give that name user. Once you use this SAPUI.getGo, then it's support any views whole application, anywhere you can use that model. Okay, okay, today we know that how to use that get and set model. And don't forget to subscribe my channel, and make sure to click bell icon and turn on the notification for my future videos. Thank you. Bye.